Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
I just can't bring myself to kind of like get the passion in for the good evening, folks, right now, because this is a bit of a funny one, guys. For anybody who's in the chat may have heard already, the guest is kind of like it's forgotten to come on. Only on Alien Addicts. So yeah, Alien Protocols I've been speaking with on and off now for probably months, and he's not the best at getting in touch. He's probably a busy man, but he says, yep, set it up. So I've set it up. He may still come on. He could still come on, guys, but at the minute you've just got me, which I'm no goof on radio. I can't kind of like talk to you guys for a few hours on my own. But I can talk to you for a bit. But I do apologize. But I thought, you know what? I could cancel the show. I was going to cancel the show today. But then I thought, well, I won't cancel the show because people may still be around at that sort of time. Maybe I should have cancelled the show. Wreaking Havoc, my friend, my pal, my buddy, Dark Hour Paranormal, Anti-Media Zombie, Troll Patrol. I'm doing it rich, aren't I? Tina. I can't put the thing that he does, where he makes the names up. Troll Patrol. It's like Paw Patrol. It's clever. I like it. Guys, I'm not bitter. I'm just like, I'm a little bit embarrassed, but shit happens. It's the internet, it's YouTube. This is what happens. I've got a gin and tonic, so I'm fine. I've got my flowery top on. I'm good. Pinky up. What I do need to tell you is Friday, the guest will turn up Friday. I've been on the phone like 3-4 times now. I'm going to give you guys, in fact, I might give you the link now for one of his videos, because this channel that I'm interviewing is called Jeff Young. And he's got a team of ghost hunters, and he goes all over England ghost hunting, but he has a belief in aliens and extraterrestrials as well. And he's got a 2-part episode where he's in Rendlesham Forest. It's an amazing channel, guys. And I just messaged him in an email and said who I was, and he's like, because I think he's a bit old school, he's like, just give me your number, I'll give you a call. So we've over the last few days we've been chatting, and he's agreed to come on the show Friday. So Friday at 8:00 he will be on for an hour. I think he can only do an hour, but it's going to be good. Mr. DB Cooper, how you doing, my friend? Alien Girl 111. We need more alien girls. We need more alien channels. Alien channels, but with female hosts. Yes, I'm all down for that. Great Lake Sasquatch, how you doing, mate? So this is you expected to see me here with Alien Protocols. We were going to talk about remote viewing because he can remote view. I was going to get him to see what I'm holding in my hand right now. I don't have any bottoms on, so there's a clue. But I don't know much about remote viewing, so I can't really give you the show he was after. But I can sit and have a drink at a gin and tonic with you for 5-10 10, 15, 30, an hour, 3 hours, however long this goes on for, till I get bored. Because I can't talk. In fact, is there any audio? Yes, the audio's on. I don't think white suits me, because I'm very white. With white, I had to dim the lights because when the light, it looked like I was see-through. It just looked like I was a beard with eyes. But Richard Northwood, how you doing, my friend? Mary Hall. See, this is. I can read the chats, can't I? I can put some dyslexic magic onto it. Sometimes. So I will tell you guys this. How Suburban Interactive, guys, check Suburban Interactive's channel out. He does CGI stuff, and it's brilliant. He makes his own stuff, little projects. Awesome channel. But yeah, I with the chat. So this new way of me doing the interviews where it's live. I know it's a little bit different for you guys because you're used to me being in the chat talking to you, even though I've not been doing live for long. But I hope you like it this way, where you can kind of interact. I'm just sorry that sometimes I will miss stuff in the chat. There's probably quite relevant questions, but unfortunately, I was born with an affliction, which is dyslexia, which anybody who's dyslexic, they need to drink gin and tonic quite often. Red wine, beer, it helps. We are creative. We have very creative minds. But unfortunately, if you give us a book to read or send us a few messages, it's just straight through. See what people are putting here. Good evening, everybody. Alien Spaceship, how you doing? Dave Ole. See, this is quite funny because I can take the piss out of myself as well. So sometimes a name might put up and it might be the most simple name, but I'll probably read it wrong. And people are like, this guy can't pronounce my name. You're right, I can't. And sometimes it's the same when you send me a message. I might read it like my 4-year-old would read it, but my 4-year-old is vastly starting to take over my reading ability, which is quite funny when when I'm reading him a bedtime story. He's like, Dad, that's wrong. What you've just read there. Dyslexic Lives Mattress. Oh dear, brilliant, love it. That does say mattress, doesn't it? Yeah, I'll spark the joke. I get the joke. Yeah, so I can read. Am I reading that right? Yes, I am. How is everybody in this fine evening? See, I tell you what I wish with the live streams. You see, I like my black and white. I don't know how to make dark hour. Can I make myself black and white? You know StreamYard. Can I make myself? If anybody knows Alien Protocol's number, can they ring him? Should I ring him? I think I've got his number. Well, no, I've got his Skype, but he's not active on Skype. He's not been active on Skype for, I think, 2 or 3 days. I hope he's still with us. Nothing bad's happened, because he's not been on Twitter either, unless he's playing a prank on me. And if that's the case, then well done, because you've kind of like I've got this remote viewing set up, and we're not remote. All your remote viewing is what's behind that couch. I'll tell you what's behind that couch. I'll show you. See if you can guess what's behind the couch. Anybody in the chat, guess what's behind the couch before I go get it. Right, it's about there. It's about there. Can you guys in the chat remote view what is there? More gin. I see. I wasn't planning on getting drunk tonight. This was just like a couple of glasses, before the show, warm myself up. It's cold in Britain. We need alcohol to keep us warm. So the reveal of what is behind the couch. Oh. This is Rudy. He didn't like me disturbing him then, but he's a little bit overweight. Ow, he bit me. It's a great cat, really. He fucking hates me. I don't know why, because I'm so nice to him. But yeah, it's quite. We've got a cat flap, and he when he tries to get through it, sometimes he gets stuck. But it's his own fault because he's a greedy little bastard. We don't overfeed him. What he does is he goes through other cat flaps in the street and he steals the food. He's an arsehole. You heard that. But yeah. So Dark Hour, I think, was the first person to get, yes, you did. Laugh out loud, Kitty. You said Kitty. Did you say cat? Yep. The dyslexic way of spelling cat. You guessed it. Oh, no, Antimedia Zombie. He could have probably got that. He bit me again. Did anybody see that? Did anybody see that? Literally, I was just looking over the couch and that little fucker bit me. You're a twat. But no, there's no Lego. The Lego's been cleaned away. So, yeah. Mary Hall got it. It is a kitty. You're right. But anyway, yeah. So, guest-wise on the show, I bet this show's gone to pot, as we say. So it was 28 people watching this. Watching what? There's nothing really to watch. There is no show tonight, guys. The guest has not responded to my messages for or seen them on any platform for 3 days. I should have 2 days. Sorry, 2 days. If it was 3 days, I would have cancelled the show. 2 days. But he said, let's go for it. Let's do it. Set it up for 9 o'clock. So I'm going to set it up for 9 o'clock. Set up. But yeah, on Friday, 8 p.m. UK time. I'm not sure what that will be, your time, wherever you are in the world. But there will be Jeff Young on, who is a investigator of paranormal. He goes out to houses. He goes to Rendlesham Forest in the UK. He's actually been to a house near me. Thank you, Mr. DB Cooper, my friend. Very nice of you. Very nice. This man. Yes, you are Superman. Super chat man. That's cheesy. But no, thank you. It's appreciated. Every little helps. It does. Because it helps all YouTubers out, I think the thing is with YouTube, especially for like these UFO channels that a lot of us have a dream of making it big and doing kind of, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Making a difference in this field. And I know I go all over the place with it, whether it be paranormal, whether it be ufology, whether it be shadow people, whether it be, I don't know, like massive ginger cats. But at the end of the day, I am looking for answers with a little bit of humour, like Rich. Only mine's British humour, which is, I know some of you guys in the States don't necessarily get my sense of humour. You just think the guy has issues. I do have issues. Oh, there is Lego. I've just found some Lego. There's some Lego there. My son has made some sort of vehicle. He was complaining earlier that a wheel went missing, and he's put a rubber band around the top of it with some sort of laser thing on there. So yeah, there is not all the Lego was tidied away. I'll be having words with the wife about that later. You know what I mean by words, yeah. I'll probably tell her, you've left Lego lying around, it's all over the floor. And then she'll say to me, well, why don't you go back downstairs and get it tidied up then? I can't win. She is boss. She is boss. But yeah, guys, the channel, as the channel stands at the moment, recently I've lost a few subs, but then gained a load of subs. It's weird. I think people are kind of like, they want the small. Does anybody in the chat, do you want the small videos still? You know, the small little videos that I do, the 10-minute ones. I think they will come back. I think I was a bit like kind of getting into these. I kind of want to do the interviews and do the small little arty videos, because I don't want to stop the editing stuff, because I think if I stop the editing stuff, I'll lose the editing ability type thing. So, because I literally learned to edit through watching other people's YouTube videos, and it's very hard. It's, you know, it's not the easiest thing to do, but I enjoy doing it. It's great stuff. So who we got in? New Mike Johnson. How you doing, my friend? Artism. What's that say? Koskini? Wife is boss. Yes, she is. She is the boss. She's probably laughing right now. She's probably laughing and getting her handcuffs out. Hopefully. No, that's not happened for a long time. David, I've just received your email. That is a great story, my friend. I was at work at the time reading that story. And you hit me. We'll do a Skype call, my friend. We'll I can help you out with that. We'll sort something. Get you on the channel. But yeah, you know, if there's anybody out there that is starting a UFO channel, whatever they want to do with this kind of field. When I first started this out, and I reached out to a lot of channels for help, don't reach out to big channels because they don't want to know. No, I would, apart from Third Phase of Moon, I have to say, those guys, as much as I've given them shit in the past, they're nice fellas. You know, they do help out smaller channels. Yeah, they do. But it's what's that say? Alien spaceship. I hear Security Team 10's got 5 years in prison. I have no idea about that. No, I mean, I saw Lions Ground put something out the other day, and Lions Ground, if you're watching this, though, he has unfriended me on Facebook because I used to send him links. I would send you a link and we could discuss our beef together. I would gladly, anybody that's got shit to say, Let's talk it out like men. It doesn't even have to be on YouTube. You know what I mean? If you're watching this now, Mr. Ground, Heathcliff, you know, ring me. We'll talk it over. He's got a lot of he's pissed off with me because he thinks I took Tyler's side. I didn't take a side. What I did, I was just like, you know, so you took the rights of the logo and you what the guys so no matter what the guy did, and I know all the rumors, this, that, and the other, there's nothing been proven yet that I know of. And if he did that, it's shit. But it's clear to me that the guy had a problem with alcohol. Okay. The police video, it showed that. And I don't condole anybody getting behind the wheel that's had a drink, ever. If I've had a drink the night before, heavily, I will not drive the next day. So if I've got work the next day, I will not drink heavily. I refuse to do it. I lost two of my best friends through car accidents, not drink driving, but through car accidents when they was very young. So I don't condole it. But what I also don't condole is kicking a man while he's down. And for me, that's what Heathcliff did. You know, you could see that the guy, he'd been arrested. I'm not laughing at the fact he'd been arrested, but you could see that he'd been arrested. And then he's obviously staying in some sort of hotel, motel room, yeah. And I'm just like, okay, just back off now. People need to kind of like just step back because something serious could happen if you push a man that's really down. You get the gist of it. Anyway, we'll move swiftly on from Tyler's problems. I'm sure he's not on YouTube anymore. He's gone. Yeah, so people that wanted to get rid of him, it worked. And I'm not saying Heathcliff wanted to get rid of him, but all I was saying, my problem was, you know, stop with the badgering. Quit drinking. Quit drinking, you drunkies. Quit drinking, you drunkies. Trust me, life is way more fun. Yeah, I'd agree that life's fun, but I just can't. I enjoy it. You know, it's like smoking a cigar. I haven't smoked a cigar in years, but yeah, if you can definitely enjoy life without having a drink. I can go at least, I don't know, 2 days without having a drink. It's easy. What I can't go without is coffee. So I literally just can't. Do you know what my mother said to me? This is my mother, okay? And I know you guys in the States, you're all about this. She's like, you know, she's Ollie, you've got such a beautiful face. Oh, thanks, Mum. But that's what mums say. But you could do with your teeth whitening. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Mother. That makes me feel like great, you know? But the thing is, I'm addicted to coffee. So I drink coffee, like I must drink about 5 coffees a day. That's one thing I can go for cheap, you know, cheap gin. But I can't go for cheap coffee. It's got to be good coffee, like a good cup of coffee and a good cup of tea, Earl Grey all the way, or Lady Grey. Let's have a look at this chat. Guys, I apologize for the guest, Alien Protocol. If you're watching this, I hope you're crying right now. You've let me down, my friend. No, I hope you're okay. I hope there's nothing bad happened. Oh, Richard, You did remote viewing in the USA. Can talk to you about that. What, you want to come on? Sorry, I want to watch in the chat. But you're welcome on, my friend. Especially if it's to talk about remote. Why can't I say remote? I wouldn't be able to say it if I'd not had a drink. But I just can't seem to say remote right now. I just said it then. There you go. Remote viewing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I think of it. I know you can do it, but like people that can actually bring themselves to go to other worlds, to moon bases, to different countries, it just seems so far out there. Pardon the pun, but it does. Yeah, remote. I've just seen another cat. No, it's not. It's a teddy bear. Remote viewing is interesting when people say that they can kind of like get to space. They can go to another planet and see what other races and stuff like that. Those are big claims. Now, I'm not saying Alien Protocol said that, but he can apparently summon UFOs, which is interesting. UFO summoning. Some. I've got 33 people in the chat. Freaks me out, that number. Really does. All right, let's have a look here. We've got. I'm sure I've got you on. Oh, there we are. There we go. I've found you, Rich. And you are very welcome to come on, my friend. Let me just get the invite. I don't even know if you want to come on or if you. So I just sent a friend of mine that's been with the channel for quite a long time an invite. I've not combed my beard today. Happy wife, happy life, DB Cooper. Yes, I could not agree more, because when they are unhappy, they let you know about it. They do. A woman can destroy your soul. And I'm sure ladies out there, a man can too. So that's not me being sexist, but it's just kind of, I don't know what other men are like, but I'm like, I can't be bothered to complain, though I probably do complain. But I'm like, it is what it is. Oh, here we are. There you go, mate.
Hello.
To save the day. Let me put my headphones on. How you doing, Carl? I can hear you.
Hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, hold on. I can't hear you.
See, this is what I like. This community that comes to save the day. See, this is H2O, people.
No. Speaker. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Rich.
I can hear you now. Okay.
Fantastic. So, Rich, what do you know about? Well, Rich, welcome to the show. First of all,
Hi, thank you.
I did not expect this. This is like a gift from the gods.
It's live TV, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. How you doing?
Okay. Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Had some strange things happening over lockdown. I discovered I had type 2 diabetes, and then
I remember you saying that you was poorly.
Yeah, went on a diet, and it's gone. I can eat anything. So, yeah, I'm all right. Very strange.
But literally anything you want now.
Yeah, there's a bit of an echo here. Hang on. I know what I need to do. I need to shut Skype off. Sorry. Just bear with me. Sorry.
Ladies and gents, can we just have, like, in the chat, a massive round of applause for Richard here, who's just coming to save the day from me just rabbiting on about shit. Well done, mate.
Okay. Let's just unpin that and then shut that down. Cool. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you, mate, yeah.
Great. Okay. So I need to, suppose, wind back a little bit, because I've been involved in all things paranormal for a long time.
Yeah, and I know you've studied a lot of, like, martial arts and things like that, haven't you, as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tai Chi. So I've been to China, I've done all that. So I suppose what I need to do is wind you back a little bit. So when I was about 6 years old, I started having sort of out-of-body experiences where I was kind of lying in the bed, just on my way off to sleep, and I'd all of a sudden find myself sort of vibrating and shaking and then hovering up out of the bed, and I'd get towards the ceiling, and then I'd float along the ceiling and sort of like scoot around the house like that. And then I went, and then I decided, oh, well, let's see if I can go out of the window. So I'd go out of the window and I'd fly above. We had 3 cherry blossom trees at the bottom of the garden, and I used to hover above those. So I then told my dad one day, Dad, I'm having these things where I'm flying out of my body. And he said, I said, I fly when I'm asleep. And he goes, oh, that's a dream. So what I did was the next time it happened, I just sort of paid more attention. So as I separated from my body and I floated off out of the window, I thought, oh, hang on a minute, I can still feel the bed, against my body. I can still feel that as well. And at that point, zoom, I went back into my body, and I thought, oh, it was just a dream, and I never tried it, and I never did it again. So fast forward about 30 years, and I was in China with my Tai Chi master, and we were in the White Cloud Temple in Beijing. And wow. It's an interesting place. It's a Taoist temple, and really nice. And I was looking in, they had this room with some tapestries up. And one of the tapestries was of some cherry blossom trees and a man suspended above them. It looked like it was probably, just him lying somewhere, but it looked to me as though he was above the cherry blossom trees. And I went zoom back to those experiences that I had when I was younger. And so I went and I said to Li Ming, who was my Tai Chi teacher, I said, these martial arts masters, do they ever do sort of out of body experiences and things like that? And he said to me, yes. Yes, they do. In fact, in the ancient times, what they used to do is they used to go and meditate and sit and try and get information from other places. And sometimes that meant you leaving your body to do it. And he said what they used to do is they used to post their top student at the door and say, if anybody tried to come in and wake them up, they were to kill them, because they believed that when you were away from your body, if somebody was to wake you up, you would be dead, because you wouldn't be able to return to your body. So
if they woke the actual, you're basically your sleeping meat sack, as my friend from the States said, then you could not return to that.
That's right. So that was their belief. And so I thought, this is really, really interesting. So went back to England and started doing a lot of research. And what I discovered was a chap called Robert Monroe. And back in the 1970s, he had some spontaneous out-of-body experiences, and he started writing books about it. And because he was a TV producer, he was very rich. He started doing research on it, and set up a business and an institute called the Monroe Institute. And this is in not far from Charlottesville in America, and it's basically he set up this big center. It's basically 2 big buildings in a field, and his old home, this mountain retreat further up the mountain. And what he discovered was that he discovered binaural beats. That is where you have 2 tones played to you in stereo, and what your brain does is it tries to join the 2 together because you've got 2 brain hemispheres, and when it does that, it changes the brainwave state, and they have a curriculum that you can follow where you can buy lots of CDs for different purposes, and you can go and meditate and do that. So I started doing what they call a gateway voyage, which is a set of CDs. It costs quite a few £100 to get them all, so you can see how it progresses, and it starts off with a specific curriculum, and that you start. They have these focuses, they're called. So your first one is just you normally awake, and then you go into focus 10, and focus 10 is when your mind is awake and your body is asleep. Then you've got focus 12, where your perception starts to expand, and you've got focus 15, where you don't have much perception of time. So 5 minutes, an hour can feel like 30 seconds. And the further along you go with these focuses, the more you get distanced from your body's feelings. Now you can wind this back a little bit, and focus 10 is kind of like sleep paralysis. You're awake, but your body's asleep. And then as you get further away, you start feeling these vibrations that I was talking about, and then you can separate. As part of that as well, you also do remote viewing, and this is where we wind it back again. So focus 12 and focus 15 are those areas where remote viewing can happen, and you can start accessing what they call information from other places, either extrasensory in tone. So this is all really interesting, and I've had quite a few what some people would call abstract experiences, that sometimes could be construed as coincidence.
Yep.
I wouldn't go too far to say that it's crazy. So, as I say, I spent a lot doing that, and then one time they invited me over to America. So I went over, and what they wanted to do was they wanted to set up local, what they called local chapters. So they wanted everybody to start getting together in various towns and cities throughout Europe and America to practice together, just like meditation groups, really. So they asked me out there to do that, and we were out there, and there was some lectures. We spoke to Joe McMonigal, who was a remote viewer, a very famous remote viewer, and he gave us a talk, and we got all the aliens on the moon and all of this interesting stuff that people in Project Stargate had remote viewed about.
What you mean? He spoke to you about this?
Yeah,
All right,
yeah. In fact, it was really funny because we were just talking to him about remote viewing, and he was just talking about it generally. And somebody told us, they said, for goodness sake, don't mention the aliens. At which point, some bright spark at the back goes, "What do you know about aliens, Joe?" And boom, off he was, and he was chatting about all of this stuff. And it's really, it's really interesting. It's a lot of the stuff that you see on the television already. He was definitely big on alien bases on the back of the moon. He said they'd remote viewed that. He said they'd remote viewed bases on Mars. So that was the interesting thing. But the real interesting thing was when we started doing the meditation sessions while I was there. Okay, so to describe how it works in the Monroe Institute is that you show up, you go to the Nancy Penn Center, which is a really interesting building that almost looks like a church, but it's made out of wood, and you get given a bed, and the bed is like surrounded by it's like almost like a bed in a cupboard. It's got walls around it and a little sort of square opening when you've got a curtain that you can shut off, and you can shut off the light, and you can put a light on inside if you need to, and you can change the ambient light to see if it suits you, and you have headphones like these on, and you've got a microphone, and you can talk to people, and they take you through guided meditations. So
is there more beds in
this
one room? So it's a room with like quite a few, but each bed is like your own little space, basically.
Yes, correct. So you got your own space. Now I was in what they call the Fox Den. So the Fox Den was one room with I think there's 3 beds in. There was me, and there was two Vietnam veterans in there who were lovely chaps, quite old actually, and so the Nancy Penn Center is full of these little rooms like that, and there's somebody centrally controlling it, and they're almost like a DJ. Do you know what I mean? They've got tapes and they play to people all over the place. So what they wanted to do was they wanted to talk to us about setting up a local chapter. So we were all considering doing this, and so they took us in, and we went into what they call Focus 10, then we went into Focus 12, and then what he did was they asked us, we'd like you to visualize what the future looks like. So we're going to tell you to go and look a year in the future, and then we're going to tell you to look 2 years in the future, and then we're going to tell you to look 4 years into the future. Now, so when they started, they said, look 1 year into the future. Now I got an image of a warship that had been holed at the side, and it was sinking. And then they asked me to look 2 years into the future. Now you've got to remember this. Now this was in June of 2009.
Right.
So June in 2009, they asked me to look a year in the future, and I saw a sinking warship at 2 years into the future, and I'm just sat there. I'm thinking, there's nothing here. Then all of a sudden, there was this rushing towards me, and I felt like I was being blown away. And then they asked me to look 4 years, and I didn't see anything at all. So I went out, and there was a ton of us, and we all relayed our information. And there was a few people that said, "Oh, the warship. You're obviously seeing something to do with international peace, people putting away their weapons of war and all this. So there's people with some very, very love and light type of attitudes. So they were giving us very positive things. And I went away and I went back home. Lovely people, and I wouldn't say a word against them, but obviously the courses there are shockingly expensive, and you pays your money and you takes your choice. So I went home, and I think it was about a year later, almost to the day, there was a Korean warship that was sunk by the North Koreans. So South Korea, there was some boat that was sunk. So you could argue that was a hit. Nice one, John.
Cheers, John.
So that was really interesting. And then 2 years later, well, a bit more than 2 years later, there was the Japanese tsunami that struck, that ended up with the Fukushima power station exploding and all of this lot. You can argue that was a hit as well in terms of remote viewing the future. Maybe not the future of the Monroe Institute, which is what they wanted, but you could argue that was a hit for remote viewing. Now,
definitely,
you could also argue it's a massive coincidence as well, and there could have been a ton of other things that could have happened. And I'm sat on the fence with all of this. I still. Do you remember when you talked to your dad about aliens, and he said he'd seen the UFO, but he didn't believe it?
He saw it over the ship in the 1980s. Literally, just something went straight over the ship from one end of the horizon to the other one. Him and his shipmates. It's the merchant navy that they had to call it in. But yeah, he takes the mick a little bit out of the.
I'm exactly the same. I don't believe that's happened. I still think it's coincidence. Do you know what I mean? But there's still another part of me that goes, well, yeah, but what if? So
hang on, so you had the experience when you were a child, and how old were you when that first experience was?
I was about six or seven.
And that carried on for a bit, and then what was it? Did you say it was 2000 and?
Oh, right. So it was 2000. It was actually 2000. I was there in China in 1999, but I went to the White Cloud Temple in 2000. So that was in September 2000. Yeah. That I made that I clicked, and I thought, I would like to try that again to see if I still could do it.
And then you paid to go. You went and did it in the States. Yeah.
So I had sort of about 8 years, let's say 7 years, because I was looking for about a year. So it's about 7 years of working with the Monroe Institute CDs that I was buying. And it was then in 2009 that I got invited over. So I went over. I couldn't afford to take the course. Do you know what I mean? I'd done the correspondence course, if you like. And that had some interesting experiences as well. Interesting to me, but to nobody else. Do you know what I mean? And to me personally, even the information that I got, those 2 hits, what use were they to me? What point has it been useful? In fact, what point has any of it been useful? It hasn't. Do you know what I mean? The only thing I can say is that the experience, the actual act of searching, is perhaps more important than what you actually find.
So you don't think it was? Yeah, I get what you're saying. So but you don't think it was, when you say it was just coincidence what you saw, you definitely don't think you did a prediction there. Are you 50-50 on that?
I'm 50-50. I'm completely split. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those things, isn't it? You could say that it happened. It has happened. It definitely, and I've got no proof of that other than somebody took notes at the Monroe Institute for what I said, and it'll be down there somewhere. But it is very strange. I believe that we are connected, that so much of our communication is non-verbal, based on, you know, just the way we look at each other and the nuances in our voice. There's so much communication that goes on that we don't necessarily filter. And I think that all adds up to something bigger than what we consider to be normal. And then there's that little extra jump that says, okay, could I be getting information from elsewhere? Because to me, I don't think you leave your body, but I think there's a possibility that you get information from somewhere else. And I don't know how that happens or anything like that, but that was how it was explained to me.
Almost like you're downloading the information rather than traveling. You're kind of like bringing the information to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
definitely.
So like the mind's got its own connection to the world almost. It's using the world as its router.
Exactly. So what they talk about when in the Monroe Institute is that all of these things to do with looking into the future or getting information from other places, all you're doing is, or even when you're leaving the body, it's a way of assimilating information from other places or other levels, if you like. That's what they talk about. And you reconcile that in different ways, in an abstract way. That's what they say. So I have no reason to doubt their earnestness in that, because they've mapped these different states of mind, and how they've done it is that they've fed brainwaves into people's heads, and when they notice a change in people's physical state, they then call it a different thing, you know, and then they ask the people how did they feel at that point, and then that's how they did it. Robert Monroe, who funded all of this, brought together a lot of people in America that wouldn't have been together to research all of this. And I'd urge everybody on this to read a book by Thomas Campbell called My Big Toe, which is a bit of a mess of a book, but what it does do is it teaches you, it gives you a framework from which to do your own searching, if you like. And what it doesn't do is it doesn't dictate to you in any way. In fact, the Monroe Institute don't really dictate to you. They imply things, but it's almost like what they say is, they say, here's a car, get in it, go on a journey, come back, tell us what you did, and that'll be it. And it's as simple as that. You know, what did you see? What did you hear? What did you feel? How do you feel about that? That's pretty much what they do. But there are programs in the Monroe Institute that are, I think, way ahead of their time, because they've been talking about what they call non-physical friends. And you'll have seen me do in the comments occasionally, so and so's had a non-physical experience. And what I mean when I say that is not that they're making it up, not that it's in their imagination, that they are having an experience that is more informational than it is solid matter.
Yeah.
So I don't sort of like sit and judge people too harshly in terms of whether they've had an experience or not. They have had an experience, but it's what kind of experience that they've had that is really interesting. And for people to sit there and say, oh, so-and-so's been abducted, and that's what they talk about, I do wonder, they perhaps haven't been taken from their beds, what they've had is they've started to get information sent to them, or they've received
that's
it.
interesting. So you're saying there that, for example, if it is the little grey fellas, that they're not necessarily taking you, they're feeding your brain, that they're uploading information to you.
It's possible. Say, and when people talk about, I think it's Arthur C. Clarke who said that that highest level technology suitably high level is just like magic. I mean, for instance, show somebody from the 1970s a mobile phone, with a touch screen, they'll go, "What the heck?" Do you know what I mean? It looks like magic. So imagine if you go and sit in a room with an alien, and they have some kind of Wi-Fi, if you like. I think you mentioned it, Wi-Fi, that they just switch on, and all of a sudden you can hear what they're thinking. They can hear what you are. That is possible. I think. Your mind is electrical information. So yeah.
Maybe that's Elon Musk's Starlink is the start of all that for us.
Absolutely. It's on its. I think all of this is on its way, and the really interesting stuff about, I think we're seeing a lot. All of this trouble that we've got in the world to do with polarizing of political issues and conspiracy theories flying around and people getting angry all over the place. Well, that's the entropy of our system. We've now got an international, a global way of communicating to each other. The genie's out of the box and everybody is sharing their thoughts. And at the moment, the entropy or the disorganization has gone through the roof. And as all of these thoughts mix, there's going to be sort of confusion and disruption out of that. And I think what's going to happen is that it'll reach a peak, and then all of a sudden it will start to taper off as consensus starts to be gained, as people continue to communicate. And we do learn to share our thoughts properly, and people come to proper conclusions, and everything gets shared out. I genuinely think that what we're at the moment is that we're at peak craziness, if you like, and things will start to drop down again.
I think you've just given me the idea of Elon's vision with Starlink now, because he's got Neuralink, hasn't he, as well?
Yep.
So there's the Starlink, Neuralink. It's all linking together. Maybe once that thing's in your head, the long-term plan is that when the Starlink satellite, you could just access your own Wi-Fi with that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're probably talking 10 years ahead, maybe less, maybe 5 years. Maybe somebody's a prototype right now.
And why not? I mean, the only thing that I would think that's really important is that you have some kind of firewall to make sure that your own thoughts stay private. To me, that would be the craziness, and you can start to upload and download, but keep your own thoughts separate.
So I mean, it's Tai Chi. Is it Tai Chi?
Yeah.
So in the Matrix, Keanu Reeves, he downloads and learns kung fu.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to be a possibility? Because how would you because your muscles, surely your muscles, maybe your mind might learn it, but your physical body couldn't do it.
Now, one of the reasons why you practice Tai Chi slowly is because very, very slow movements train your body to move in a specific manner that allows you to move very, very, very quickly. And what that does is that your movements go into your muscle memory. It takes a very, very long time to do. So if you think about kickboxing or something like that, that's route one. That's, if you're playing football, that's a long ball and a kick in the net for learning how to defend yourself. Tai Chi is the long route that involves okay, so if you imagine yin and yang, so
yeah, I made you a yin and yang.
Yeah, you did. It's fantastic. I've still got the screensaver up. So if you think about yin and yang, yin is soft, feminine, yielding, and yang is hard, fast, and powerful. So all martial arts are a mixture of yin and yang. Now, things like karate, Shaolin Chuan, kickboxing, all of the hard stuff starts with the hard and the fast moves first. Okay, and as you get further in a higher level, you add the softness and the more circular movements later. Now, Tai Chi works the other way around. You start with the soft and the circular movements, and then you add the hard and the fast later. So you're doing the same thing. Your goal is the same. It's just the path's different, and it's a longer journey for Tai Chi. The reason why the older people do it more is because the training's reasonable. You're not banging your muscles around. You're not damaging your joints. You're not calcifying your bones so that you make them hard. It's a different process.
So what you're saying there is you've just debunked the Matrix. There's no you may be able to download the knowledge.
You can have the skill
and the know-how, but you can't. Your body would not be able to. You'd still have to train the body.
Well, to some extent, yes, and to other extent, no. Yes, you would because to hit somebody, you have to have experienced, hitting people. You kind of tend to dull yourself to the pain a little bit, and it does take a bit of time. I've managed to look after this nose.
I wish I had. Mine's my cartilage is flattened in this nose. I've got scars across the top. I don't know if you can see them on this, but yeah, that's a long story. Wow. I am no fighter. Definitely no. I don't know how to do any sort of martial arts. The only thing I know how to do is growl a little bit.
I'm not that good, really. My students are, but you know what they say: those who can do it, do it. Those who can't, teach. I was always runner-up for the competitions and things like that. But my students, when they go into competition, they win.
Yeah, but I probably disagree with that, Richard, because if you're teaching it, then surely you are the master. I'm not saying that you're probably right. Maybe some of your students are better than you, but you're uploading your knowledge, to them.
Yeah,
and you're improving on that upload.
And it's very, very interesting because martial arts is a huge sort of metaphor for all of this that we do on a regular basis, because like a lot of things, you aren't actually so you can talk about a manufacturing process where you take materials and you adapt them and you put them together and you have something come out at the end. Well, with martial arts, your people are the materials, and what you do is you go to the people and you instruct them to change themselves.
Yeah.
And that's the magic. I don't do anything. They do it all. All I do is open the door. They're the ones that walk through it. They're the ones that make themselves better. And that's the magic. It really, really is, because if you give people the right encouragement and the right path, they will shine like nobody's business. They really, really will.
that's the same with a lot of things in life. That if you teach it well, if you become that person that somebody can look up to, and they can gain the wisdom that you have yourself, but they can improve on the back of that. It's an amazing feeling. When was the last time you had like an out of body experience?
I would say when I was trying quite hard, it was probably around the time of my firstborn's birth, my daughter, and that was at a time when I wasn't getting too much sleep. So I was spending a lot of time in the borderline sleep stage. I used to work in Manchester, and I used to get the train back from Manchester, and I would quite regularly doze off on the train and end up having an out of body experience while I was on the train. And I think something to do with that rocking motion really helps create the dissociation that you need to have an experience like that. So yeah, I used to find myself stood in the central aisle of the train looking back at myself. It was quite interesting.
I'd love to be able to do that. I think when I was a kid, there's memories of having strange dreams that involved seeing myself, but I don't know if they were just dreams, or maybe children have the ability to be able to do it because their minds haven't been corrupted to.
I think so. I definitely think so. My eldest daughter has. She tells me that she flies in her sleep. She has kind of out of body experiences. My youngest daughter is a lucid dreamer. She has control over her dreams. So it definitely runs in the family to do with the dream state, and this is one for the people that have abduction experiences, specifically, to do with contact when they are perhaps in their bed and they're getting out and they're doing that. These entities might not be there, but you still might be communicating. But you require a journey or a framing of it for you to take that information on board. The Monroe Institute, again, I go back to that, as part of their gateway voyage, they have what they call non-physical friends. And it's around the time of Focus 21 that you start getting introduced to non-physical friends, and you can ask them questions about your life, about anything like that. You can also ask them to help you with an out-of-body experience, and it's another metaphor to get you to separate from your body. These non-physical people can grab you and pull you out. There's lots of different ways to try and get to the same thing. So I would hesitate to say that you are conversing with aliens, or rather just sit on the fence about this and consider really what is the experience trying to tell you other than who they are and what they are. Is there something that you are wanting to learn from this, something that's important? And you might not know until much further down the line, but keeping an open mind in terms of what path that experience sets you on as well. Yeah.
When you speak about this, it's kind of got me thinking, because I mean, I say that I've never had like an out of body experience, but I did say on a show I think it was a few shows ago, and I think I was either telling someone in a show, or I was even just telling somebody just on a private chat. I can't remember, but my little boy suffers from night terrors, and I got into bed with him, and I'm just like, it's okay, and then I fell asleep as well. And then I had this dream that I was outside our house and it was raining. And the next thing I know, my body just kind of like comes off the floor and just starts going up, like almost like I'm being sucked up by something. And then I woke up, and then as soon as I woke up, my little boy woke up like that next to me. He woke up at the exact same time, and then he said to me that he'd had a dream. I said, "It's all right, mate. It's all right." He says, "Well, I said I couldn't move, Daddy. I couldn't move." I said, I was like, I was still. That reminded me of being a kid as well, having dreams where you're stuck in like slow motion or you can't move.
Absolutely.
So he couldn't move, but I was being like almost like abducted. But there were no spaceship there or anything like that. It was just I was outside in the rain, and for some reason, and my body floated up. I always have dreams that I'm outside on our drive, always for some reason in the dark.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's tons of these sort of like borderline states that you can get into, you know, that it's definitely something, and you're on the cusp of something, and all it needs sometimes is just a little bit of a push in that direction, you know, and you know, it's what you want to. It's not necessarily what you want to find, because very often, in my personal view, what you find isn't important to anybody else but you. But I'm quite happy to share one of the out of body experiences that I had that is totally removed from normality. Okay, so I was lying on the sofa. I was listening to a Monroe Institute CD.
When was this?
Oh, this was, good grief. This would have been somewhere around 2007, maybe 2008. It was before I actually went to the
Before you
Monroe
went, yeah,
Institute.
okay.
Yeah, so I was doing the CDs, and I was lying there, and then all of a sudden, I got this feeling that
sorry, Rich. Sorry, just before you go into that, what do you hear on these CDs, just to give the audience kind of like a
oh, right, okay. So what happens is it starts off with it's usually Bob Monroe's voice, and he comes on and he says, in the exercise we are going to be doing this, that, and the other, and then what happens is there's a sound in the background like crashing waves, but it's not crashing waves. It's kind of like a white noise that swells and falls away, and it's underneath that white noise that you get these tones that change your brainwave state. So what he'll do is he'll start by saying, okay, counting. You'll have an affirmation to say, and then you go into counting from 1 to 10 and breathing at the same time, and that will get you into focus 10. And then what they do is they start you in what they call resonant tuning. And what resonant tuning is when you actually hum to yourself or go like that, and it sets up a vibration in your head. So the noise that you make helps you to clear your mind. Okay, so imagine if you've got thoughts racing around your head. One of the easiest ways to clear your head is to actually just hum or a monotone, and that's why the Buddhists do it, you know, when they go oh like that, you know, that's what they're doing. They're clearing their mind of the chatter. Once you've got to that point, then you will move on to another focus level, and then you might get instructions to do things.
Right. So I got the gist of that. So basically, you get like sounds that trigger things, and it moves on to different stages. I just kind of wanted the people in the chat, and the audience watching this after the show. I don't think they'll make it this far from my terrible intro. I might have to edit myself out of that, and so it's just me and you.
It's all right.
But
you have to change the name as well.
Yeah. Yes, I will. I will. And so you 2007. You're on the couch.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Monroe CD.
CD. Yeah. So I'm listening to that, and then all of a sudden, I get the feeling that my body's not there anymore and that I'm in space. Now it looks like space because it's completely black and it looks huge, and there's billions and billions of tiny little stars all over the place. It's just tiny little drops. And as I focus more, they come into greater focus. And as I focus more, I see lots and lots of tiny little threads extending downwards from the stars all over the place. Do you know, like one of those? Do you remember in the 70s? You won't remember the 70s, but I did.
I was born in 1980, the same 2 days. I think it was 2 days before the Rendlesham Forest incident.
Oh, I was born the day they landed on the moon, July the 20th, 1969. But I digress.
You look the same age as me, mate. You got good skin.
Yeah. Clean living. Okay, so yes, I'm in space. I see the stars, and as I look, it looks like they're not quite stars. They look like. Do you remember those lamps in the 1970s where you had tiny, lots and lots of little filaments off them? Do you know what I mean? They looked like.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Fiber
optics.
lamp.
Yeah. I thought they was invented in the 90s. So there you go.
So fiber optic lamps, tons of. That's what they look like. All these threads going down, and I followed them all down, and I looked below me, and there was this huge ball of fire, an enormous ball of fire. It looked like the sun, basically. It was just massive. And then as I looked, I could see that there was a single filament coming up from the fire to me. And I couldn't see my body. All I could see that I was a single point on the end of a filament, and my body was no longer there. That was just me, a single point. And then I went, holy effing hell, back. Do you know what I mean? And that's weird. I have no idea what that is. Some people would call it a mystical experience, but yeah, and it was totally freaky.
Well, you said clean living as well, because somebody mentioned, and I've heard of this. I think Joe Rogan spoke about it. Is it DMT? Never.
DMT, yeah.
That's apparently you can get these sort of experiences by, which I wouldn't.
Right.
I'd never advertise doing anything like that. But Joe Rogan spoke about this, and he's done this and had this crazy experiences. But yeah, after too many whiskeys, I kind of have a similar experience sometimes.
I'm not averse to trying it, but it's just never come my way. DMT is a drug that your mind secretes when you're dreaming.
Right.
So taking DMT will encourage that that aspect of your mind.
Yeah, I just wanted to briefly touch on that, but we won't talk about it too much because YouTube won't like it. But yeah,
right,
yeah.
Okay.
No, it's my fault. It's my fault.
Allegedly.
But so do you? Is there any reason why you don't do it now? You don't want these out of body experiences? You just kind of like you're done with it, or?
I do, but it's more something that I just do on the way to sleep at night. Do you know what I mean? So I've just.
You've never had a bad experience from it.
Oh, well, not really a bad experience. There was a time when I tried to do out of body experiences where there was an influence that didn't want me to do them. Okay. So I would have an out of body experience where I would just find myself, instead of separating from my body, I would find myself click and a long way away from my body, like New York or something like that. It looked like an American street or something, and I'd be stood there. Then all of a sudden, somebody would jump up in front of me like thump, like that, and I would be scared back. And that happened to me so many times. And once again, this is talking back to when you were talking to John and the other guy
David.
the other night. Yeah, when he was talking about entities and negative influences and things like that. So there was a time when something was stopping me from doing it. Now, either I was sabotaging myself and I was creating that, or it was another piece of information. Yeah.
When you do it, what's it look like? And I know when you just said there, you looked a bit like New York. It looks like space, but so when you dream something, I don't know if you see it the same as I'm seeing you now. Do you get what I mean by that? You don't.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I'm looking at this, I always bring this. Thank you, Tony, for this. If you're watching now, but when I will drink it one day. But when I look at this, when I look at any object, when I pick something up, how it feels, how something looks, it's physical in a way. I'm looking at a physical object. When you go into this remote view, does it look like I'm looking at you now, or does it look like a dream?
No, it does look like a dream in some ways, and in other ways, it's very, very clear, and it's, you know, you're in a dream because there are certain things that you can't do, like, for instance, the light switches don't work. You can't look at your feet. There's tons of really strange things. So if you're ever wanting to lucid dream, there are certain things that you can do, which they call reality checks. You might want to try the light switches. You might want to look at your feet or turn around in 360 degrees. It's very hard to do that as well if you're in a dream. If you can do those things and you're not conscious, then you are in a separate plane, if you like, or at least a different state of consciousness. As I say, I don't understand much of it. All I know is what I can perceive.
That it's
Yeah.
possible. You just made me think of something here. Every dream, and I think if anybody that's watching this now, anybody in the chat, if anybody can tell me that they've seen their hands or feet in a dream, I'd be amazed, because I never have seen my hands or feet in one dream.
Exactly.
Ever.
No, I used to see my hands. I used to see my hands a lot when I was having night terrors when I was a child, because my hands used to become huge and they used to become very, very heavy, and that used to terrify me. That was my night terror when I was a child.
I'm lying. I have seen my hands as a child. I have seen my hands because there was a dream I had once, and I remember it to this day, where I was in my mum's garden, and there was a blue, what I described as a troll, and for some reason, I don't know if I put my hand in its mouth or it went to bite my hand, but it bit my hand, and I woke up.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know if it was the feeling of if I saw my hand, but I think I must have seen my hand.
Yeah.
Or the feeling of it about my hand. Because sometimes in dreams you can taste things and you can feel things in a so you feel kind of pain in a dream, but not, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Because some of the pain that you feel is emotional pain, and emotional pain transfers to physical pain eventually. You know, it's quite easy, I think, to feel some kind of physical pain.
And we do taste in our dreams as well.
Yeah, sense memory. Why not? Yeah, absolutely. But as I say, you know, what you tend to find when you're receiving interesting information is the reality definitely steps up a level. Out of body tends to be a bit fuzzy for me. It doesn't seem so real. And there are times where I'm out of body, and the sense of travel is very stayed. Like, for instance, it's almost like teleportation. I won't travel slowly from one place to another. I'll look in that direction and I'll go to where I can see. That's why I'm such a terrible driver, because I'm so impatient, because a lot of my dreams are all zip, 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 zip like that. And I sit there and I think to myself, why can't we all just do that?
Yeah, we're stuck in traffic.
Oh God, yeah.
We're always stuck in. Well, we're not stuck in traffic these days. Not often, anyway. No, that's the only good thing about 2020. There's not so much traffic. So when I was talking. The guest I was going to have on. I know he can. He claims to be able to bring UFOs to his vicinity. Do you know anything about that?
As I say, the only thing that I would say that there is a parallel with is the Starlines course, which is done by the Monroe Institute again. And what they talk about in Starlines is becoming a galactic ambassador, where you use the Monroe Institute tools to communicate with aliens, basically. And to me, that's a bit of a step too far, personally. But I've not been down that specific rabbit hole. And to be honest, I got to the point with the Monroe Institute where I thought, well, you're actually crossing not into belief, but into dogma when you're talking about, when you're actually saying that you're conversing with people that are technically extraterrestrial, and you're actually saying that that experience is that, if you know what I mean. So to me, that's where they show their limitations to me, because personally, I think it's okay for somebody to have an experience like that and believe it for themselves. But for somebody to tell you that that's what you're doing is...
to tell you that there's bases on the moon with aliens that have got their own Starbucks on the... It's great. I mean, there's probably truth in it. There must. I mean, I've heard many stories where there was what was it? Men that stare. The film, The Men That Stare at Goats, and that was based on a true story.
Well, that's what's his name? Jim somebody or other, and he did the New Earth Battalion.
Yeah, he was on Third Phase of Moon. They did a documentary with him.
Jim Channon.
Before he's passed away now, hasn't he?
Yeah. But he was also part of Project Stargate, and Project Stargate was the and the precursor to Project Stargate was the Monroe Institute. There's a guy there called Skip Atwater, who was ex-military, and he met Robert Monroe and then started working with him. But what's not commonly known is that that the reason why he met Robert Monroe was he was taking a ton of money out of there from the military to fund research into that. And if you speak to the Monroe Institute and you go and do their remote viewing course, it's very much like a military type thing. You're talking about targets, you're talking about hits, you're talking about really being quite clinical about it. It's the one course in the Monroe Institute that's quite it's more scientific and less shall we say love and light. And I say love and light's had its place.
UFO man is in the house.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Mr.
Nice
DB.
one, Mr. DB Cooper.
UFO man, how you doing, my friend? Welcome to the channel. As always, his channel has shot straight up. He's doing really well. I'm happy for you, my friend. It's about time as UFO channel shot to the top. the whole summer in UFO things. I have a problem with that because, and I'm sure there may be people that can do it, but is it coincidence? Are they seeing something that they want to see? You know, how many witnesses do we need? Greer,
Greer.
people pay good money to go and do this. My good friend Goofon, I don't know how many people he's told this. I think he's told people on his show, but he's going to see Stephen Greer on Friday.
Is he?
Yes.
Oh, that's going to be interesting.
Very true. Greer, as people think I don't like him, I don't dislike him. I think he's done a lot of good, but at the same time, I'm like, how much does that guy charge? It's a lot of money to go to one of his conferences, and some of those things that when I first saw it and I saw the things out at sea, I'm like, holy shit, that's really good. But then I'm like, it's flares. It looks like flares.
They were definitely military flares.
And if people have paid good money and he's had one of his buddies shoot some flares out at sea, Stephen, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's what it looks like. You know?
Allegedly. Yeah.
There's my problem.
I agree. You know, there's lines that people cross all the time to do with the UFO experience, and I'm sure that what I've talked about tonight also is a ton of red flags to a lot of people. And all I can say to everybody that I've spoken to is that I actually feel the same way. I don't necessarily. It's not that I don't believe that these things are happening, but I find it hard to reconcile the difference between my rational side and what I have actually experienced. You know, and I can talk about all of this to do with anybody, because I do think all of these experiences are really, really important. You know, and that's why people like Wreaking Havoc Wreaking Havoc, is that right?
Yeah.
Is doing some fantastic work now out of the back of and he's turning his experience around into some research, which I think is fantastic. And
well, I mean, the guy's gone from having just his mobile phone.
Sorry, go on.
The guy's just gone from having his mobile phone to getting cameras, to getting, a decent. He bought a laptop, then he upgraded the laptop, and now he's just wanting to reset. He's upgrading his cameras, and he's suffering heat for days on end when he covers up air vents to find out if this is just dust. It's constantly cleaning his apartment. He was a clean freak before, I've heard, though. But yeah, I've got massive amounts of videos and people are telling, there are still people that say they think it's just dust, and if it is dust, it's very clever dust because it's moved. Some of it's just I've seen lots of orbs, and I've seen lots of orb videos, and a lot of it I just go, that is dust straight away. But then when I'm seeing orbs with light mixed in with like shadows moving when he's not at home, and I trust the guy, I do trust the guy, then if I didn't trust the guy, I wouldn't be wasting my time with the vlog, people. That's what I'll say, because I've got nothing to gain from it.
Well, I think all of this has its place as long as people are on a good path, and they're on a path that's beneficial to themselves and the people about them. It's when people start getting exploitative, and taking a lot of money and otherwise, why not?
Do you think? Do you think people can, like, in this community, UFO channels, that can start out and have every intention to be good, but turn to the dark side, so to speak?
Yeah. Rent's due, and there's a pressure on this. Fortunately for me, I work at home. you know, and I've got an employer that's steady, so my evenings when I'm not running my children around are my own, and I can reach out in the internet and I can talk to people like you, you know, which is great.
Fortunately for me and you guys, I work in the day, so I don't have to. If I didn't, I would be faking stuff. I'm sorry, people, but you'd be getting fake UFOs because I can definitely. I know. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I've got too much of a conscience. But I kind of, I think, I see some channels faking stuff, and that I can tell when. If I'd have done this type of thing if YouTube would have been about when I was 16 years old, I'd have probably played a few pranks on people. So I kind of, sometimes when people get really emotional, and I see it all the time about people faking UFOs, I'm wondering if some of these channels are just young kids, you know, and if they're not, then you should know better. But I'm wondering if some of them are just young kids that just think it's funny to make a little prank video, and that's what kids do.
Exactly.
And then it starts exploding like,
yeah. I mean, we didn't have the internet, you know. We did knock and run, you know, and all the other daft stuff that you do as a kid, you know. Trick or treat was havoc round our way when I was a kid, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember when I think I was a teenager when it kind of came properly. We had the internet in the house. I used to get into a lot of trouble with that as well. Sorry, Mum and Dad. But I used to waste a lot of ink in the printer and then hide the pictures that I printed out underneath my drawers.
Oh, okay.
And that type of pictures. But yeah, it's a crazy world that we live in now, because when you speak about any subject like what we're speaking about tonight, there's people that will just say, "Oh, this guy's crazy," or why is Alien Addict talking about this subject? And this is the whole reason why I wanted to do this, is to educate myself as well as other people, because I have seen a lot of people say that this can be done. And you know what, from speaking with you tonight, Richard, I totally believe that this can be done. But I want to train myself to be able to kind of like do this.
Well, you know, I'm sure there are courses that are available all over the place to do all of this kind of stuff. But once again, it's snake oil salesmen that you have to watch out for. Generally, the people that I went to were very good, and I would recommend them. But at the same time, be careful about being led down the communion with aliens, all of this stuff, you know. Be careful about the beliefs that are being implied, and be careful about the amount of money that you're paying, because I have spent quite a lot of money buying CDs from all over the world. As I say, I've traveled to China to do some consciousness things. I've traveled to America to do the Monroe Institute and stuff like that. I have spent a lot of money, and I've spent time away from the family. I've locked myself up in a room, and I've done meditation and meditation and meditation, when, you know, I could have been spending time with my family and my friends. It does take its toll, and it's not a downward spiral, but there are very, very few conclusions that you can draw from it. It's just more and more and more questions. But it's the searching that's important, not necessarily the finding. Don't expect to find all you'll find is things that, don't expect to be able to impress anybody with it. Just expect to find things that are relevant to you and you alone. And there's no point in really taking it to other people and tell them, because at the end of the day, what I've told you today is interesting, and I'm sure you've got parallels that you can go, oh yeah, I've done this and I've done that, and because we are all the same, but the specific information that I've given you is that I've discovered from what I've done traveling wise is not very useful to you, is it? I mean, I've given you
Well,
2 predictions, and I've given you which came true, and I've given you one mystical experience, which is quite abstract.
yes, but you rescued the show. Otherwise, you'd have just had me. You'd have had me babbling on for about. I'd probably still be here now on about my 8th gin and tonic, my legs in the air or something like that. No, I just had 1. No, 2. I had 2 tonight. But I'm not working tomorrow, so I thought I'd just have a couple before the show. But yeah, you saved the show, because this is what I want. This was the whole point of the show for me and other people to be able to learn about this, and
Yeah.
I think you're totally right. There is something there, but is it that we can look at aliens on the moon or anything like that, or is it just something that is naturally a part of us as humans?
I think you've hit the nail on the head with that. There is something there. There is something there that's innate in all of us. It's like when you're sat in a party somewhere and you sat with a drink in your hand, and then all of a sudden you feel someone's looking at me, and then you turn around and somebody is looking at you. How many times does that happen to you in a crowded room? There is some common experience that we're all linked to that we don't quite get and we don't quite understand, and the information that we get from it is not very useful to us. And maybe this is just because we've got too much evolutionary baggage and we're not there yet, and maybe there's some Elon Musk technology just around the corner that's going to drag it out of us.
Do you not see at the same time? I understand what you're saying about it dragging it out of you, but do you not think that some of this technology suppresses it? The natural ability to be able to do things that people would consider as superpowers.
Okay. So what I think technology's done for us so far is it stopped us having a retentive memory. We don't learn facts anymore. We learn where to look for our facts. So I think our directional and where things are has improved, but not necessarily our retentive memory. I think I was going to say something else there. Sorry, what was that question again? Can you just repeat?
Do you think technology is suppressed?
Yeah. Okay.
The natural ability to be able to do what people would consider as superpowers, witchcraft.
So if we consider that we improve as a species, or every iteration of us, we adapt to our environment, we get better, etc., etc. So if you look at the dinosaurs, what happened to the dinosaurs? Well, they evolved into birds, and they flew. So technically speaking, within 100 years, we not only flew, we skipped millions and millions of years of evolution. We've built our own wings, and we're flying. Indeed, we've gone to space. So I think in many ways, we have outstripped our ability to evolve and get better physically, because technology is doing a lot of that for us. I think the internet, another reason why everybody's annoyed so much is because the internet gives us so much information. We're not used to that kind of information. Indeed, people running countries, 20 or 30 years ago, people running countries didn't get as much information as the average person does now from the internet.
I know.
So I do think that, once again, that we're on the cusp of, does all of this information get more and more and more, and we start adapting to it? Or do we find a way of getting technology to prioritize this information for us and feed it in a way that we can understand better? And once again, this is where Elon Musk steps in with the ability to download information faster. Will that negate our need to evolve more to cope with information? Will we just need to stick on a bit of extra hard drive onto the side of your head, and all of a sudden you've got a super retentive memory and an ability to do all of
Scares the hell out of me. It scares the hell out of me when my little boy, my oldest, is 4 now, and when he's got the tablet in his hand, because I said to my wife, I said, let's not be that parent, that gives their kid the tablet. Let's avoid it. Let's avoid giving the phone to them to shut them up. And for a long time, 4 years, didn't do that. But then it's like there's some learning apps on there that are really good to teach him how to read. So he's doing that and he's playing that. And then it's where do I draw the line in with this? Because I don't want, because I want him to grow up and experience, real things like getting a piece. So I give him a piece of paper and a pencil. Says draw pictures. So I've got Lego everywhere in the house. So he makes physical stuff out of Lego. Probably don't get out enough because of the weather. But I try to get him to avoid the technology. But at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, is this a bad idea? Because this is the child of the future, is a child of technology. It's that era that we're going in. By me holding that back from my son, am I holding him back from how he should be when he's older? Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean, and I think the answer is that as long as you teach him how to socialize,
yes,
that's the key to it. As long as they've got friends that they can go and visit and speak to and play with and grow up with and share with, you're always going to have other friends that are on the end of your mobile phone, and to a certain extent the technology can be a bit of a social lubricant as well, as well. But
yeah, I've had friends round before the lockdown, and they've just been sat there with the mobile phone. I'm like, well, this is fun. I didn't invite you around for this. I don't give a shit about your Twitter, your Instagram, whatever. Let's watch some Alien Addict.
Yeah, absolutely. But we are becoming a lot more sophisticated in how we interact with each other. Consider we've never met, but we've found a shared interest in UFOs, in paranormal phenomena, consciousness, all of these things. Have
you seen UFOs before, Richard?
No,
Never.
I have not seen a UFO. No, but one of the things that I walked away from the Monroe Institute with was an almost unassailable belief that there was life out there. It came and it started about halfway through. So I started getting this feeling around 2004, 2005. I couldn't go anywhere without looking at the sky for a long time. I was just scanning the skies all the time. absolutely no reason, and I was nowhere near the Starlines project. Sorry, the Starlines course. I didn't even know about the Starlines course. I was just doing the Gateway voyage, which is just out of body experience and a bit of consciousness tools. You know, it is funny. It's come from nowhere, virtually just, and this is another one of these feelings that I can't equate to, because I never used to believe in aliens and things like that, and I don't.
It sounds like what
I
you're saying
think
to
they're
me.
out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you've not. But also, I think you're saying. Are you saying to the audience, you know, if I were you, I wouldn't go down the path of trying to do the remote viewing and learning this, because it interferes. If you want to have, I don't want to sound rude, but if you want to have a life, because from what you're telling me, is you invested a lot of time in it and you didn't get the payoff that you expected to get.
Exactly, and you know, I think you end up. I think that I've got a few Facebook friends that I value, that I met out of it, that I converse on a regular basis. So I've made some nice friends, but they're dotted all over the world. I'm not going to really ever visit them, and as much as, you know, I've got some shared experiences with them, how can I possibly tell anybody else about them, because they're so far-fetched and they're so far out on a limb? What's the point? Someone's just going to look at you and go, "You're nuts, you." So, and I don't necessarily think you find anything that you can't find just by sitting in a dark room and meditating. I think that's just as valid as going off to see a guru who fires consciousness at you all the time. There's a couple of books you can read. As I say, Tom Campbell's My Big Toe is a super book. He rambles a lot, but very, very interesting. And you can put that down and walk away and go, well, I don't agree with some of that, but do you know what? It gives me a framework that I can use. You know, and he does some good lectures on the internet. And if you have time to watch one of his lectures, maybe you might want to bring me back and we can talk about what you think he says, and whether you agree with it or not, because that's interesting as well.
I'd definitely love to get you back on. You know, the thing is with me, and I've said this quite a few times, this to me is like a portfolio of human beings, you know, with all different beliefs and different interests, but all kind of in the same ball as everybody else, because we're all searching for that answer to, you know, where did we come from? You know, what's the purpose in life?
Yeah.
I think this is more than just what it started out as, a UFO channel, as debunking, being a bit silly channel. For me now, this is kind of like, this is very much about the people, and, you know, people like yourself, I won't forget, you know, that no, you're interesting. And that's the thing, that the people that have gone down that rabbit hole that you've gone down, you know, I have nothing but respect for, because the only rabbit hole I've gone down is YouTube and researching into the UFO field. I'm only just dabbling in other stuff.
Well, you know, life teaches you a lot of the things far better than some guru. You will learn patience and an iron will far better raising your own son than you will with any robed person. Having two daughters myself and no hair, I can attest to that.
Oh, mine! I think mine's going, mate. Yeah. I'm certainly starting to get some grey in the beard.
Yeah, this is just for men. It really is grey.
Is it?
Oh yeah.
You've done a good job. Done a good job, my friend. Well, mate, thank you so much for coming on and saving the day. And I'll definitely get you back on. I'd probably like to get you back on with one of the other guests if you don't mind. I think at some point I'll figure out certain guests that'll gel with the other guests because of the way the conversation is going to flow. But Rich, if you don't mind, I'm just going to remove you from the slide. But if you stay in, just so I can have a little chat with you after the show. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on, my friend. You saved my bacon, so to speak. Yeah,
no problem, mate.
Ladies and gentlemen, Richard Northwood, thank you, mate. Thank you. Guys, thank you so much for the people who have stuck with me through the how long we've been on for now? An hour and a bit, have we? Yeah. Thank you. We had a bit of a rocky start, but I think everybody will agree that Richard, he saved the day. And I can't thank you enough, Rich. But guys, I am Alien Addict. Make sure you tell your friends about me. Anybody who's dabbling into this subject that's doesn't know much about it, because when they're introduced to me, they'll realize that I don't know a lot about it either, which will make them very comfortable. Because we're all kind of looking, we're all searching. And I think that's the brilliant thing here. I don't think there's many people that I would have on that claimed to be a total expert in an actual field. Speaking of experts, who I thought was very much an expert is Jeff Young, who I'm having on Friday. He has a channel. The channel is actually called Jeff Young. Check it out. He visits all sorts of haunted places all over Britain. He's been to Rendlesham Forest. There is shadow people in his videos. He even explained them as maybe being alien. He doesn't know. But I've had a couple of phone conversations with him recently, and he says he's not an expert. And anybody who claims to be an expert in the paranormal field is an idiot. But I would say he's doing it. He's a bit of an expert, because he's doing a great job on that channel. But guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the support. Everybody in the chat, the super chatters, just everybody that's here. You guys mean the world. I'm Alien Addict. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. You can check the Patreon page out if you like. It's in the description. And head on over to Alien Protocol and just ask if he's still alive, because I'm kind of worried about him. But good night, God bless. And the bugs don't bite. Not again.